Some of the biggest secrets are hiding in plain sight, sometimes even on the front of a car. And for over 100 years, one of the world's most famous symbols of luxury has been hiding an absolutely spectacular story. It's a story that connects a fugitive from France with a true American icon. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Cadillac Crest. If you're into cars, or hey, even if you just watch F1, you know this emblem, for sure. It's clean, it's modern, and you know it the second you see it. It just screams a certain kind of status, right? A standard of quality that's been built up for generations. But have you ever actually stopped to look at it? I mean, really look at it and wonder, what are those shapes and colors all about? Well, the story behind this simple design is so much more complex and honestly, way more scandalous than you could probably ever imagine. To get the real story, we have to go back in time, way back to the original Crest. And this isn't just a logo. No, this is a full-blown coat of arms, and it is packed with centuries of European history, all this noble symbolism, and one absolutely enormous secret. Okay, let's dive right into this. Every single piece of this original design tells a story of aristocracy and honor. It's basically a visual promise of a very, very noble heritage. So check this out. Every little detail here has a super specific noble meaning. The shield, that's all about protection and courage. The crown with the pearls, that signifies a direct line from the royal counts of Toulouse. And those little birds, they're not just any birds. They're mythical birds called merlets, and they symbolize a never-ending quest for perfection and a link to the Holy Trinity. They were often used for knights who fought in the Crusades. And it's not just the symbols. The colors themselves are like a whole other language. Black stands for wisdom, gold is for wealth, red means bravery in battle, silver is for purity, and blue represents knightly valor. You put all of that together and you have a symbol that just screams power, nobility, and a really deep, honorable history. So, with a crest this fancy, you'd expect a pretty impressive guy behind it, right? Some aristocrat with a family tree that goes all the way back through French history? Well, let's meet the man whose name and crest define the entire brand. This is Antoine Laumet, Sieur de Cadillac. Sounds important, doesn't he? He was this celebrated French explorer who showed up in North America back in the 17th century. In 1701, he founded this little settlement called Fort Pontchartrain de Detroit, which, yep, you guessed it, would eventually grow into the city of Detroit. The man was hailed as a hero, a pioneer, a man of noble birth, whose family coat of arms we just finished decoding. And right here, this is where that pristine, noble story we've just been told completely and utterly falls apart. Because the man we just met, he didn't really exist. So let's peel back that legend for a second and find the real man hiding underneath. Get this, the celebrated founder of Detroit was actually born Antoine Laumet. He was the son of a middle-class lawyer. He had to flee France in 1683, probably to get away from his family's debts. But when he got to the New World, he saw this incredible opportunity, not just to start over, but to completely reinvent himself. He made up a new name, Antoine Laumet, Sieur de Cadillac, and to make the whole act convincing, he just straight up stole the coat of arms from a noble family that lived near his hometown. The entire identity was a brilliant, total fake. So let that sink in for a second. The very foundation of the Cadillac brand, the name, the crest, that whole story of nobility, is based on an elaborate hoax that was cooked up by some ambitious guy on the run. But that just brings up an even bigger question, right? How on earth did this fake crest end up on the hood of one of America's most prestigious cars? Well, the story, believe it or not, starts with failure. Total failure. It's 1902, and Henry Ford's first big car company, the Henry Ford Company, is completely falling apart. The investors hired this engineering genius, a guy named Henry Leyland, just to sell off all the equipment. But Leyland, he saw something else. He told them, "Don't sell it. I have a better engine. Let's build a better car." They actually agreed, and on August 22nd, 1902, right from the ashes of Ford's failure, a new company was born. Okay, so they had a company, but they needed a name. And their timing was just, wow, it was impeccable. Just 1 year before, in 1901, the city of Detroit had thrown this massive party for its 200th anniversary, a huge citywide celebration. And who is the hero of that celebration? Of course, it was the city's founder, the noble Antoine Laumet Cadillac. His name was everywhere. It sounded historic, adventurous, and it had that touch of European luxury. So adopting his name and his fancy stolen coat of arms was an absolute stroke of marketing genius. It gave this brand new car company an instant history that it hadn't even earned yet. And this is where the story gets its greatest twist. This is my favorite part. A brand that was founded on a completely fake identity would go on to be defined by provable, undeniable, real quality. You see, they didn't just borrow some noble-sounding slogan. They went out and earned one, the standard of the world. That became Cadillac's motto, not because of some phony French nobleman, but because of Henry Leland's obsession with something very, very real: perfection. Leland brought the discipline of making firearms to making cars. He demanded precision and interchangeable parts, which was a revolutionary idea back then. And in 1908, they proved it. They sent 3 Cadillacs to England, had them taken apart completely, mixed all the parts into one big pile, and then put them back together using just basic tools. All 3 cars started up perfectly. They won the super prestigious Dewar Trophy and proved to the entire world that they were the best. Then they went on to introduce the first electric starter, getting rid of that dangerous hand crank, and the first mass-produced V8 engine. You can literally watch the brand's journey away from its fake past just by looking at how the Crest itself changed over time. Over the next 100 years, all those fancy details slowly started to disappear. Then, in the year 2000, they made a really radical change. They got rid of the crown and the mythical merlettes, the most obvious symbols of that faked nobility. What was left was an identity forged not by some French imposter, but by a century of real American innovation. So just think about it. A company named after a con artist who literally invented a new identity to escape his past becomes the global benchmark for authentic, measurable quality. A brand that was built on a complete myth becomes the standard for reality. It's this incredible story of reinvention, where a totally fabricated past gives way to a legacy of genuine excellence. I mean, it doesn't get much more American than that, does it?